Hey everybody, welcome back to A Matter of Life and Maiden, the podcast of the Beasts. I am Joe Labriola. And today we're talking about Mr. Paul Bruce Dickinson, better known as Bruce Dickinson, and his birthday today, August 7th. Bruce was born August 7th, 1958. He's 67 years old today. Wow. Episode 45 of the podcast, and Bruce is 67 years old. And I kind of want to touch on that a little bit here. 67 years old, I literally feel like it was like a year ago when the Book of Souls came out and we heard about Bruce's cancer struggle, that he, thank God he got through that and everything, and the perseverance of the man, just how he's continued ever since then. I mean, he's amplified everything he's done. He's gone above and beyond everything. I mean, if you were to see this guy, it took a toll on him physically, obviously. He does look a little more aged because of it, and that's what chemotherapy and treatment and stuff like that does to you. But the energy of the man, had you not have known that this man is a cancer survivor, just the performances he's put on since then, you would have never known that he ever had it. I mean, he is electrifying. He's unbelievable. And with that said, the first part of that comment, I cannot believe that was over 10 years ago that the Book of Souls came out. Here we are. This is August 7th of 2025. This is Bruce's 67th birthday. And in 2015, 10 years ago, and actually a little bit before that, so 10 and a half years ago, we found out that Bruce beat cancer. And it's insane. And in my head, I sit here and I think, like, wow, what has happened in the last 10 years? And it's crazy to think this, but, like, measuring my life by Maiden releases and albums and how many times I've seen them in concert and when I'm going to see them again, it's been a true thing for me since, like, 2005, 2006, when A Matter of Life and Death came out. That time period when I was getting into the band, 20-plus years a fan. And in a way, it shows you that these guys are getting older, but that I'm getting older too. And it's just, I do not know where the time goes. I don't. But I am so thankful, with that said, I am so thankful that these guys are still out there crushing it and killing it. And I want to touch on that real quick here, like mortality. And I know we're going to celebrate Bruce here, and we're going to go in depth with this one because I love Bruce. He's one of my favorite members of the band. I love every guy in the band, every member of the band, but Bruce is up there for me. Ozzy recently just passed away. Ozzy Osbourne, John Michael Osbourne. The end of July. Paul Mario Day, the original singer for Iron Maiden, just passed away at the end of July. Ozzy was July 22nd. Paul Day was July 29th. And Bruce's first name is actually Paul too, and Paul Di'Anno, Paul Andrews. It's a lot of Paul singers in Iron Maiden. They're given names anyway. But it's crazy to think that I'm getting older here, and this idea of mortality, and how all my heroes, and a lot of my heroes recently, a lot of actors, a lot of sports figures, a lot of musicians, a lot of people that I care about and have deeply influenced my life are getting older, or some of them have passed away. And it's so sad in a way, but it's so beautiful in a way too, because you're always going to have that music. You're always going to have that. And to speak to what Iron Maiden did, and I want to say this, to speak to what they did because everybody knows about that feud they had after the 2005 Ozfest, where Bruce was going up on stage and kind of making fun of Ozzy a little bit, saying that he's using a teleprompter, and he doesn't need to have a reality TV show, and Iron Maiden doesn't need a show or a teleprompter or any of that stuff to sing and perform. And Sharon allegedly had people throw eggs and cans of beans and lighters and all kinds of stuff, like pouting the band on stage and cutting their power on and off and delaying Eddie coming out on stage for the Ozfest in 2005. And ever since then, they've kind of had a tenuous relationship. Ozzy said he didn't know what was going on, and then Sharon explained it to him, and he was like, of course I'm going to back my wife. And then they've always had this kind of tenuous relationship, Bruce and Sharon. But when Ozzy passed, they released this amazing just commemoration with Ozzy and like a picture of him holding a Randy Rhoads guitar and just how he was a huge inspiration to the movement, the metal movement, pioneer. You know, he's always going to be missed. Bruce said he grew up listening to Black Sabbath with Ozzy and everything. So, I mean, to say that about him, the man rose above. You know, he forgave. He put that behind him. He's like, look, Ozzy was awesome. Maybe I was out of line. I apologize. Let's move on. And I think, with that being said, to kind of tie into the whole mortality thing, too, I think he's just a different person now, too, because he faced death. He beat cancer. Ozzy sadly passed away, complications of Parkinson's and other things, health issues. And I think he's looking at it now from perspective of, yeah, we only have one life to live, so let's be kind to each other and let's enjoy it. And I think he's grown a lot, and I think the band, too, has grown. So kudos to them for rising above and just being the bigger people, the bigger person, and just being just all around amazing in every facet. I love this band so much. But anyway, with that aside, and to touch on the Run for Your Lives tour coming to an end already, it's insane. I can't believe the tour's over already. It just ended a couple days ago. A couple days before Bruce's birthday here, like 4 or 5 days before Bruce's birthday, August 2nd, I think. So, and then Bruce is going to go out and do some solo stuff here to do some Mandrake Project stuff, but it's insane to me. But anyway, sorry about going off on that little tangent. Let's dive into Bruce, and let's just start with him with Maiden. I mean, I cannot even begin to explain what he brought to this band in the 80s when he arrived. And he's one of my favorite members in the band, and I love them all, like I said, but for me and who I am as a person, I'm a guitar player, and I'm also a vocalist. I play bass, I play guitar, I sing, I dabble in drums as well. But bass and guitar and singing are my top things. They're my favorite things to do. That's what I like to do. And his showmanship has influenced me. I mean, even I've done some open mics and I've done some, acoustic stuff here or there, a little bit of electric. I've done some stand-up comedy, and just how he talks to the crowd and engages people. And I've used that in my acts, in my performances. And it works. I mean, it pays off. When you engage the crowd, you actually pay attention to them, you talk about things, you shed a little bit of light on issues in your life and how it relates to other people. It's amazing, and he is a master at that. He is a master. He's a master. And I've said this before on maybe the Number of the Beast episode. We're even just talking about some live stuff throughout the podcast, some of the episodes I've done. He had this power within him and this kind of talent within him. It was almost like intrinsic. Like, as soon as he jumped onto the stage in the 80s with these guys, it was like he was already in the band. It was like he was a founding member of the band when he jumped on for Number of the Beast. Because what he brought was just such an infusion of everything awesome. I can't really explain it any other way. It just made everybody better. And we're talking about fucking Steve Harris. We're talking about Adrian Smith and Dave Murray at this point. And Clive was with them too, and Clive made him better. Just unparalleled strength. And one of the greatest frontmen, period, of all time in any musical genre, whether it be metal, rock, whatever genre you're looking at. Bruce Dickinson, I mean, astounding. He's otherworldly. He's godlike. And to go into the Number of the Beast record and just sit here and talk about that record, man, is it so powerful. His vocals on this and how he sings the songs. Number of the Beast is one of the greatest heavy metal records of all time. Every song is a testament to just sheer, raw talent and virtuosity from these guys at that time period. And to look at like what the band was doing with the original album and then Killers and then kind of progressing to this point, I mean, it's so many steps up. It's unreal. It's unreal. To have witnessed that, Bruce joined the band in 81, the record didn't come out until 82, but to have witnessed that at that time growing up, which, like I said, I wasn't born until 86, so unfortunately didn't get a chance to experience that. For me, it was more the resurgence. It was the reunion, and then it was Matter of Life and Death was my it was like my Number of the Beast. But like, man, I can't even imagine. I can't even imagine how amazing it would have been to what he brought and the way he sings the vocals. I mean, put on Number of the Beast and just listen to the record. I'm not saying every song is a masterpiece. Invaders is weak, Gangland is weak, but honestly, every other song besides those two is fucking amazing. And if you're looking at like the 1998 reissues where they have 9 songs on and they include Total Eclipse, there's 7 songs on that record that are just mind-blowing. And every vocal line and delivery from Bruce is absolutely, it's earth-shattering. It's immense. It's monumental. When you put that record in, it's so hard to like say this is a weak album. I have had people that I've talked to who have listened to Maiden, and I've showed them Number of the Beast, and they've listened to it, and they're like, who in the fuck is singing? That is absolutely amazing. That is unbelievable. I kind of equate it to when Ritchie Blackmore left Deep Purple, and they were like, man, who's going to be better than Ian Gillan singing for Ritchie? And then Man on the Silver Mountain comes on with Dio off of the first Rainbow album, Ritchie Blackmore's Rainbow. And people were like, holy shit, who in the fuck is that? That's what Bruce brings to the band. And maybe not with Invaders, but when you hit Children of the Damned and you're getting into The Prisoner and 22 Acacia and Number of the Beast and Run to the Hills and the absolutely life-changing song for me, honestly, one of them. One of the many Maiden songs. Again, why they're my favorite band. One of the many dozens of songs upon dozens of songs that changed my life is Hallowed Be Thy Name. I know I've probably told this story 1,000 times, but when I got into Maiden, it was like Peace of Mind first. I did listen to a couple of the single songs, like the more popular stuff off of Number of the Beast, like Run to the Hills and the title track. And I never heard, I was probably listening to him for 4 or 5 months. I never heard Hallowed Be Thy Name. And Matt was like, did you ever hear this one? I was taking him home and he put it on. And I was like, what in the fuck was that? That was mind-blowing. I literally sat in front of his house when I dropped him off, and we talked about Hallowed Be Thy Name for like an hour before he got out of the car. It was unbelievable because we were so like, holy shit. Because I was given perspectives as a new person listening to it, because he had heard it a couple times before. And he was like, holy shit, I've never thought of that before. And we were bouncing ideas off of each other. And it's just one of those songs that does that. And I mentioned this about Peace of Mind. Number of the Beast has this same kind of vibe too, especially with Bruce singing. His voice takes you somewhere, man. Like, it takes you somewhere. It teleports you to another dimension, to a frozen moment in time, to a place where everything is just, it's Elysium, man. It takes you to Mount Olympus. It takes you to utter tranquility, peace, and just everything is amazing. It's almost like you're in heaven. You are in heaven when you listen to this record, and to that song in particular. And I can't say enough about it. I can't say enough about the Number of the Beast and Bruce's arrival in this band. And I say arrival, too, because it's almost like an alien, literally some otherworldly being from a different planet, a different dimension, another galaxy, whatever the hell. He comes in and he just makes these guys shine so much. Not that they weren't shining before. I don't want to say that they were slackers. Like, obviously Iron Maiden, the original album, and Killers were damn good records. But Number of the Beast, it's another level. It's unbelievable. This is where these guys really start to get traction, and for the next 4 or 5 albums after this, they rule the world. They do. It's because of Bruce and that stage presence and that energy and that power and that drive and that voice and how he carries himself and interacts with the audience. Moving on from that, because I could talk about Number of the Beast for days. Much can be said about Peace of Mind. Peace of Mind is an evolution. I talk about this all the time. Some of his vocals on this are glass. His voice sounds like glass. It's like, it's butter. It's everything I said about Number of the Beast and more. And I'll be honest, I don't know if I talked about this really on the podcast before, but some of the songs on this record I never really appreciated as much until later. Flight of Icarus I always loved, because that was the first song Matt ever played for me from Iron Maiden. It's probably one of the first songs I ever heard from Iron Maiden. And I love Greek mythology, and he knew, like, I'm going to play this for Joe. He's going to fucking love it. He loves Greek mythology. He loves the story of Daedalus and Icarus and the Labyrinth and everything, and the Minotaur. I'm going to play it and see what he thinks. And I listened, and I was like, man, that was awesome. And for the longest time, that was one of my favorite songs on Peace of Mind. And to this day, it probably still is. And having seen it on Legacy of the Beast now, I saw the song 3 times. Never thought I'd see Flight of Icarus. Man, so thankful. So thankful. But when I saw Somewhere Back in Time in 2008, my first Maiden show, East Rutherford, New Jersey, 2008, when they played Revelations, I really kind of want to hit points here. I mean, when I saw Bruce sing that song, wow. I mean, holy fuck, man. It was a life-changing song. And he wrote this one. And his voice and how it sounds and the tone and just the story kind of fantasy, mystical feel to it. You know, there are a few bands off the top of my head that give you that kind of mystical feel that I listen to. And these are timeless bands I'm talking about. I talk about Ronnie Dio a lot, and I think he's one of them. I think a lot of the stuff with Sabbath, with Ronnie, is one of them. And even the stuff they did later on, like the Tear album, is with Tony Martin, is one of them. It's like a mystical album. And even Seventh Star kind of has a mystical thing when Glenn Hughes was singing. Then bands like Judas Priest do this as well, especially with, like the Painkiller stuff. And more recently, the newer stuff with Richie Faulkner. And I'm talking about like Firepower, Invincible Shield, Nostradamus, Angel Retribution. And another band that comes to the top of my head is like early Scorpions, and even like the more popular Scorpions. Early Scorpions with Uli John Roth, like Cells of Charon. And then later with Matthias with like Send Me an Angel, or Wind of Change. And some of their newer stuff too, like When You Know Where You Come From, that song. It has this mystical thing, and it's just like I talked about with How Did I Name and the Number of the Beast record. It takes you somewhere, man. It's a transcendent song. These are songs that like take you to a fantastical realm or a world beyond reality. I mean this wholeheartedly when I listen to these songs. When I listen to Revelation and just Bruce's vocals and how he delivers it, and then to have the privilege to see it live and how he just accentuates the mood and the tone and gets the crowd involved and the lyrics and his emotion in his voice, it's earth-shattering and it's unbelievable. Every song on this record, again, there's a couple that are a little weaker, like I said before. Quest for Fire is a little weaker, and Die With Your Boots On maybe a little weaker. But other than that, I mean, and I'm not even saying they're weak. I mean, they're just not as good as the other stuff because it's amazing. But this is a 9-song record, and this is a step up for Number of the Beast. Having seen a lot of these songs played live now, Where Eagles Dare, astounding. I talked about Revelations, amazing. Flight of Icarus, absolutely phenomenal. The Trooper, one of the most recognizable Iron Maiden songs of all time. This song never gets old. I could see The Trooper every fucking show, and I would love it every single time because it's so emotional. The way Bruce sings it, it's astounding. Having seen it last year, even. I mean, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable to see it. Having seen it recently, he still sounds absolutely phenomenal. So, I don't know. And even seeing it now, like some of the videos when they're playing stuff on the new tour, he's unbelievable. The man is incredible. Every vocal line. To Tame a Land on this record and just how he sings it, and the difficulty of singing all those complex words from the Dune book, and the terminology and the verbiage that Frank Herbert uses, and then going into these just amazing long choral passages and shifting back into the verse and then shifting the melody somewhere else. The talent this guy exhibits is unreal. Unreal. Moving on to Power Slave, the same thing can be said. The gargantuan Power Slave, as I refer to it all the time on this podcast, for a reason. Ram of the Ancient Mariner, my favorite Iron Maiden song. It's my favorite song, period. Every vocal line in that, every breath he takes, every breath he doesn't take, every single spoken word, the vocal range. The albatross falls from his neck, sinks down like lead into the sea, then down it falls comes the rain, and he just holds it. The explosion and fireworks, the guitar solos, how he's on stage just running around like crazy, how he introduced the song on Live After Death, how he introduced it on Flight 666, how he's introducing it now, because they're playing it again on the Run For Your Lives tour. This guy is fucking timeless. And that's one song. Aces High. Oh my god, I could go on forever about this stuff. Seeing that with the Spitfire on the Legacy of the Beast the last time I saw it is unreal. 2 Minutes to Midnight. What a kick-ass song. A song that transports you somewhere. This takes you to Cold War, man. It's like you're sitting in a base somewhere in the UK or London, or it's like you're a secret agent listening to this shit, giving a report about the opposition, and it's like they're going to drop nukes on us. This is why we're afraid. This is what we got to do. It's 2 minutes to midnight. Let's get ready. I mean, it's astounding. Power Slave, a song that he wrote by himself, takes me to ancient Egypt every time I listen to this fucking song. It's basically the album cover. It's almost like if you had a Google Maps in front of you and the little dude that you could position yourself, that's you. It's like it's virtual reality. You click a button, it takes you, puts you right in front of the big gargantuan Power Slave Egyptian pyramid with the Pharaoh Eddie and the two Anubis statues on the side, and you're getting ready to walk in there and see what's in there. That's Power Slave. That's Power Slave, and you're facing the mysteries and the Curse of the Mummy and all this just amazing, mystical, fantastical, otherworldly shit. That's what Bruce's vocals do to you. That's what the lyrics do to you. That's what this band does to you. And for him to just hit it home, being the frontman of this, really, I can't express it enough. You know, you could give these lyrics to someone else, and they've had other people in the band. You saw what Paul Di'Anno could do with lyrics. You saw what Blaze Bayley could do with lyrics, and they're both great, and they're amazing, and I love them both. But they're not Bruce Dickinson. What he does and how he shapes stuff, and I'll say this, him, Steve, and Adrian have become the strongest writers in the band. You can see it right around this time period, and then obviously in the 90s it kind of peters out. You know, members leave, and then when the reunion, when they come back, maybe not so much on Brave New World because they're all reforming, but when they start to get their footing again, it's like the three amigos of writing, and I've said this before, are Bruce, Steve, and Adrian. And then Yan, too, to a certain extent. He comes in. He's like right behind those three. But he's become a pretty prominent writer. And since the reunion, too. Really, since Brave New World onward, he's become he's good for like at least 2 really solid songs, maybe 3, so like on Brave New World. But it's amazing. You can tell he talks about it. And if you watch interviews with him, too, like when they're talking about Bruce Dickinson, like before they even announced the Run For Your Lives tour, before they even finished up the first leg of the Future Past tour, they're talking about like which song would you want to play live again? Bruce, like in interviews, and he was like, "Oh, Mariner by far, Mariner by far." He loves Ram the Ancient Mariner, and he didn't write it. You know, it's Steve's song, but he loves. These guys love each other's work. They're fans of one another too. I don't know if I've really said that, but they're fans of one another. Whether they're fans of how, you know, Adrian, Dave, and Yan play the guitar, how Steve plays the bass, how Nick plays the drums, how they write, how they write lyrics, how they figure things out, how they compose. They love each other's work. They're fans of what they do. And he really gives a shit. He gives us everything he has, and that's why he's amazing. Moving on from that amazing record, Going Forever Again, going to Somewhere in Time. Now, you watch the video, he's kind of saying he's drying up, he doesn't know, but he still gives a hell of a performance. On the Steve Harris episode when I was talking about his birthday, and the Adrian Smith episode when I was talking about Adrian's birthday, Somewhere in Time was pretty much written by both of those guys. There wasn't a lot of other band contribution to this. But even with that said, put on Wasted Years, and put on Stranger in a Strange Land, and put on Alexander the Great, and having seen these songs live now, songs I never thought I'd ever see, Caught Somewhere in Time, another one I never thought I'd see it. Saw it, thank God, thank you. His emotion in his voice is astounding. Another song that just takes you to another world, man. These albums are amazing. These albums are amazing. Moving on from Somewhere in Time, because I want to get to Seventh Son, it's the same kind of feel. While Seventh Son might not be my favorite album from the Bruce era stuff of the 80s, it's actually my least favorite. It doesn't mean I don't love it. I still love it. Just, wow, another amazing album. His vocals can't be understated. Infinite Dreams on this album is one of his absolute best vocal performances ever on any Maiden album, in my opinion. The lyrics are just so amazing. How he sings it is very emotional. Man, it just takes you to a different world. I know I'm echoing the same thing over and over again with these albums, but it's so true. Listen to Infinite Dreams. It's just a beautiful song. Moonchild. That was the encore for Somewhere Back in Time when I saw them. They came back out after they finished up, and they played Moonchild. And it was unbelievable in 2008 seeing them. And I can't believe that it was 17 years ago. Over 17 years ago now that I saw them. 17 and a half years ago going on. But it's unbelievable. He seals the deal with, I say it again, every word, every lyric, how he enunciates, how he engages the crowd. And the thing that's great about these guys is the live performance sounds just like the fucking record. I mean, they're not out there putting on an act. This is them, man. Like, they really give a shit about what they're writing and how they perform it. And Bruce is like the head of that. He's the leader. He's the one who's doing all this stuff. Seventh Son of Seventh Son, in terms of like vocal, every album with Bruce in terms of vocal, besides a couple I'll say, are astounding. And that takes us into the ones that aren't that great. And we know about this. Bruce goes and starts a solo career in the 90s. And again, what an amazing solo career. He started off kind of like alternatively, doing some stuff a little different, which makes sense, you know. When they were going to do Seventh Son, he was like, let's do something a little more acoustic. Let's chill out. And Steve was like, no, it's not right for us at the time. So Bruce is kind of grappling with that idea, like, well, that's kind of the stuff I want to do, so I'm going to leave. And he does, and he goes and does, like, Skunk Works, and he does Balls to Picasso, and he does those first couple, you know, Born in 58, he does those couple albums, Tattooed Millionaire. And while they're good, I think he finally finds his footing, and he's like, you know what, like, I'm a metal singer. And Accident of Birth, Adrian comes and plays on that one. Chemical Wedding, I mean, they're amazing records. Then Tyranny of Souls, really, really good. Not quite as good as those two, I don't think. And then his latest one that he just came out with last year, the Mandrake Project. Pretty damn solid, kick-ass record for what it is. His solo career, unbelievable. Unbelievable. Amazing. And I might actually be seeing him here in September when he's going on tour with Mandrake Project again in Pittsburgh, so I'm pumped about that. A couple months away. Well, really, a month away. A little over a month away. But he is amazing. And the stuff he did with Maiden in the 90s, like, I say this all the time. The reason why No Prayer for the Dying and Fear the Dark are my least favorite Maiden records, I mean, like I said this before, I like X Factor and Virtual 11 more than them, is because you had Bruce Dickinson and just the stuff that was coming out of those two records. They were just off the mark, man. They were not hitting the mark. They were just, I don't know, they weren't transcendent. They weren't taking me to that place where I felt like, man, this is amazing. I feel like I'm in a fairy tale right now, man. Like I'm in some weird world. It's literally like a complete and utter blissful feeling. You just feel it, complete bliss. And I still do to this day when I listen to those albums I was talking about, and some of the later ones too. Not with No Prayer, not with Fear of the Dark. Maybe a song or two on there, but it wasn't like when I was listening to it, I was just engaged for 45 or 50 minutes or an hour or more, and I was like, man, that was a fucking ride. It wasn't like that. It was, man, this is dull. This is kind of boring. It's kind of meandering. It's like they're trudging through stuff here. I don't really care for it. And his vocals weren't the same either. He was doing like a raspy kind of thing that was weird. If you listen to No Prayer for the Dying and you listen to Fear the Dark, you understand what I'm talking about. he's not doing the operatic soaring highs anymore. He's kind of like stripping it down and having more like a gravelly voice, which on some songs it does work. I'll say, like on Fear, there's some songs it works for, but it's just not. It's not what made him great. And luckily he stopped doing that. So when he goes and does his solo stuff, it's completely different. Like, you don't even hear that. And some of his solo work, like I said in the 90s, man, Chemical Wedding is an amazing album. You know, to me, and I've read this on forums years and years and years ago. When I was in college, I listened to the shit out of this album because when I was writing my college capstone paper as a history major, I was trying to pick between either writing about Christian Rosenkreutz and the Chemical Wedding and that whole idea, or Alexander the Great. I obviously picked Alexander the Great, but I was listening to Somewhere in Time and the Chemical Wedding albums like all the time because I was like, man, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? And isn't that crazy to think in your head? I'm a history major, and my capstone paper and my master's theses were basically based on an Iron Maiden album and a Bruce Dickinson solo album. That's pretty kick-ass. How metal is that? Yeah, the Chemical Wedding is the missing Maiden album of the 90s. I mean, it's every song on that record is kick-ass. It's like a 10 out of 10 record. The Alchemist on that record is mind-blowing. The Chemical Wedding is amazing. Book of Thel, just, oh man, so fucking good. Special edition release, Return of the King. Unbelievable. So good. So good. It's about like Arthurian legend, Uther and Pendragon and shit. And just, I Know the King Will Come Again. Just phenomenal. 100 Years of Toil and Pain to pull a stone upright again, like Excalibur. What an amazing album. After the 90s, they get Bruce to come back. He comes back. And mind you, when I say this in this time too, the guy's in his 40s, right? So like when he comes back, he's born in 58. So when he comes back, he's like 41. He comes back in like 1999. So he's like 41 when he comes back. And it's hard to believe because I'm 38. So here's a guy who's coming back. He's 41 and he's already done all this amazing shit. Solo career, all this stuff. In that time too, he gets a pilot license. And in the 80s, he's an Olympic fencer. He's an author. He directed a movie, The Chemical Wedding. He wrote like kind of like children's books. He's in the more recent years, he has his own like aviation company. He makes his own he has a company for fencing products. He created Trooper Beer with Robinson's Brewery. Like he's part owner of that. Like the guy is a polymath. He's a singer. He's a performer. He's an author. He's a director. He's working in like the food industry with beer and the alcohol distribution industry. Talked about Olympic fencing. Talked about aviation. He's a learned guy. Like the definition of a polymath. He's unbelievable. Solo career and Iron Maiden. I mean, the stuff he did with Sarajevo, and he got like all these like honorary citizenships for all these places and honorary doctorate degrees, and he's in history and education and all these different things. The guy is legendary. He's one of the few people on this planet right now who is just like, he's done so much for like arts. Like, I think he should be knighted. Like, I really do. He should be Sir Bruce Dickinson. The dude should get knighted. He's unbelievable. And just, man, I don't know what to say. Like, he's just phenomenal. And then when I touch on the reunion, the resurgence of Iron Maiden, the rebirth of Iron Maiden, I used to call it the Silver Age. When I was comparing stuff when I was younger, I was like, oh, the Golden Age is the 80s, the Silver Age is the reunion of the present. At that point in time, there was like 3 or 4 albums. Now it's like, no, it's not the Silver Age. It's the reunion era. And it's just as fucking good as the 80s stuff with Bruce. It is. It is. Brave New World, I go back to that. Rock in Rio, his performance on that DVD is fucking mind-blowing. That was the first like real concert I actually sat down and watched from beginning to end. It was one of the first concerts I ever saw like on video that I actually watched. Right, Matt bought it for me in like 2006 or something, a copy of it, or 2005 or something like that. I still have it. I still have the copy he bought me. Like, and I watch it from time to time. And it's not even high def, but it's still amazing. Like, I love it so much. The sound on that, the performance, that concert, Brave New World, the album, fucking A. Brave New World doesn't get enough credit, and it just came up a couple months ago here on its 25th anniversary, and god damn is it an astounding record. Damn is it an astounding record from beginning to end. The Wicker Man, Ghost of the Navigator, Brave New World, Blood Brothers, The Mercenary, Dream of Mirrors, The Fallen Angel, Nomad, Out of the Silent Planet, Thin Line Between Love and Hate, and his vocals on every single second of that song are absolutely stellar, otherworldly. Ghost of the Navigator and Wicker Man were some of the first Iron Maiden songs Matt played for me too. Foot of Icarus, and then, 2 Minutes of Midnight, Aces High, Number of the Beast, Run the Hills, and these two. These two are up there too. These two are like right around the same time as like that Wicker Man and Ghost of the Navigator. Man, I really got into this album when I was in college. Really, really got into it like really heavy. This is my brother's favorite Iron Maiden album. I have a lot of friends who this is their favorite album. Buddy Dustin I used to hang out with in college. Dustin Hess, this is his favorite Iron Maiden album. A lot of people really love this record. There's a girl I used to hang out with, this is her favorite Iron Maiden album. Like, it's so monumental. And this is the definition, and I'm going to say this, of the new six-piece Iron Maiden and who they are and who I grew up with and who I became infatuated with. I'm still infatuated with them. And I went back and looking at the stuff when they were 5-piece and before that. But this is my Iron Maiden. This is the 6-piece band. And the fact that Bruce came in and he was like, hey, look, I know what I'm doing. I have a successful solo career. I have all these business ventures. I'm well-versed in all these different mediums. I'm a pretty smart dude. And Steve's like, yeah, you are. But I am too. And they kind of share the control here. They're kind of doing it together. And, man, like, Bruce is like, we need a solo producer. No more bullshit. You can't be producing stuff in a barn somewhere, Steve, like you did with the 4 albums in the 90s, Barnyard Studios, with Nigel Green. We need a guy. And they get Kevin Shirley. And I love Kevin Shirley. People give him shit, but you know what? Is he as good as Martin Birch? I don't know. It's hard to say. Is he as good as Martin Birch? I don't know. Martin Birch was amazing at what he did for the time, and Martin Birch is one of the greatest producers of all time. He did a lot of shit with Rainbow, a lot of shit with huge bands in the 70s and 80s. So he's timeless. But Kevin Shirley, for these guys, he kicks ass. The stuff he's produced, I can't say it's bad. It's pretty damn good. And let's be honest, Steve is producing this with him, so it's not like it's all Kevin, right? If you watch some of the behind the scenes too, when they do some of the stuff, like when they were doing like A Matter of Life and Death and The Final Frontier with Kevin, he gives a shit about what the band thinks and he listens to their input. And if he thinks something doesn't sound right, let's do another take, let's do it, he does it. And then the guys do it. And then they're like, you're right. And they kind of work together really well. And I think he does a damn good job. Brave New World's the first album he produced with them, and I think it's fucking awesome. I think Dance of Death is awesome. I think A Matter of Life and Death is awesome. I think Final Frontier is awesome. I think Book of Souls is awesome, and I think Senjutsu is fucking amazing. Like, everything he's done is good. So, I don't know why he gets shit on. But anyway, wow. Brave New World's amazing. Dance of Death, same thing. Listen to how Bruce sings Passion, though, in that song. Just so majestic in how it sounds. Unbelievable. And a lot of writing credits in the 80s, like I said, Smith Harris Dickinson. Same thing with what we're talking about with Brave New World. Dance of Death now we're on. A lot of stuff on this is Smith Harris Dickinson. And listening to like Wildest Dreams and listening to Rainmaker and listening to, I already said No More Lies, but like Montsegur and Dance of Death and Face in the Sand and Journeyman. Like, listen to Journeyman. It's so amazing, his vocals on this. Like the chorus, like I know what I want, I say what I want, no one can take it away. Just how he sings it, the passion and the energy. The Death on the Road version is amazing. It's so good. And then moving on to A Matter of Life and Death, the album that really like totally changed my life. It was like Power Slave and A Matter of Life and Death, and then later Somewhere in Time. Really, those 3 records in particular, like really molded me into becoming a metalhead and embracing this music wholeheartedly, becoming my favorite genre. wow, A Matter of Life and Death for me, and Bruce's vocals on this, just fuck. I don't even know where to start. From the moment I heard Nico going "Hey!" at the beginning and Different World kicking in, all the way through to the closing acoustic chords of The Legacy, man, this has to be one of his best vocal performances on any Iron Maiden album, including the 80s, in my opinion. It's just the substance material, like the stuff that's actually in it, is so dense and amazing, and how he processes it and how he disseminates it to us and how he conveys the messages in it with the way he sings, how he conveys the lyrics that Steve and all the other guys wrote and he also helped write. It's perfect. It's perfect. This album is perfect. It's a 10 out of 10 for me. It always will be. The album cover, just how they're working together, the skeletons on the sleeve. I mean, and then Bruce is basically the Eddie up on the tank at the end. That's him. And then the rest of the guys are the skeletons. It shows you just how much he gives a shit. And it really does hit home. This album means so much to me. It came out at a time for me where I was going through a maturation phase. I used to be a really timid, shy young guy, about 18 or 19 when this came out, and almost 20. And this thing just, I mean, it changed me. It brought me out of my shell. It gave me something to talk about with people, different kind of people I never talked about before. It was right when I started college, so that helped me too. Just come out of my shell more. Quit being so private. I was actually going, starting up random conversations with random people. Like, hey, did you listen to this? Or they'd see my Maiden shirt, and they'd be like, dude, what's that? Or I had an acoustic guitar class in college, and they'd be like, dude, you play? Yes. You start talking to all these different people. And then I have a Zune with my headphones blasted when I walked into my philosophy class with Dr. Petrolinas, and he'd be like, is that Maiden? He was sitting there and talked to me after class about it. He's like, I'm a huge fan. He was a huge Maiden fan. Like, it was so cool, you know? And this record and how Bruce sings it. And when I was a martial arts instructor for a while, and a lot of the guys that I taught had no idea who Maiden was. And this one guy I taught was like, dude, I haven't listened to anything from them since Seventh Son. And I brought in A Matter of Life and Death and put it on a CD player in our martial arts training dojang, basically the studio. I was the instructor, second degree black belt, and I was teaching there was 20 people there. I taught a lot of moms and dads and their kids and their families. I taught adults and students and children. And the one guy was like, dude, that record was amazing. Can you please get me a copy of that somewhere? What is it called again? And I gave him the information. It's A Matter of Life and Death. He's like, thank you so much. And he went out and bought it. He's like, dude, I listened to the record. It's amazing. I'm like, I know. And it got him back into Maiden. And just, again, the way Bruce just sings on this and the emotion this has for me and just the memories I have with it, they're sentimental to me. They really are. They're sentimental to me. I can't tell you how many times I've listened to this record over and over again with Matt, by myself, with our friends, with my brother, with people I met in college. Like I said, in my karate classroom that I taught in, I used to play it in a parking lot at work, and people come out and listen, like my coworkers. Yeah, I have no idea how much I can explain to you what this record means to me and what Bruce means on this record to me. This is when I was like, holy shit, Bruce Dickinson, listen to him. And there's videos of him singing online when he's singing the reincarnation of Benjamin Brigg in Different World, and he's holding his throat because he's probably straining the shit out of his vocal cords. Some of those passages in the reincarnation of Benjamin Brigg, which has become one of my favorite Iron Maiden songs again. Why should these curses be laid upon me? I won't be forgiven until I can break free. And just how he screams when he sings it, and then the heavy Davy riff comes in. Wow. Every song's stellar. How he sings the breakdown part on Brighter Than 1,000 Suns. Bury your morals and bury your dead. Wow. The vocal lines from the real soft ambient parts of For the Greater Good of God into the screaming loud lyrics. The real soft ambient parts of The Longest Day into the screaming loud chorus. The real soft ambient, almost whispered kind of sinister parts of Lord of Light into the spiral path leads through the maze down into the fiery underworld below. Screaming vocal line, just his operatic voice shining in this thing, man. And then same thing with Legacy. And the Legacy, for me, is like the cherry on top. It's one of my favorite Iron Maiden songs of all time. It's probably the best lyrical Iron Maiden song, in my opinion, ever written. Just, it's a song that's not only lyrically genius, instrumental genius, delivery genius, vocal. Everything is 10 out of 10 on this. Every single part of the Legacy, and really most of the record, most of this record is 10 out of 10. It's insane to me. And again, with him, some of the writing credits on here: Brighter Than a Thousand Suns. He does stuff on, like I said, Longest Day. He's doing stuff on Word of Light. And all these different, he helps write, he helps sing, he does really cool parts. You can just see him in the studio with the guys being like, like, Steve, what if I sing the chorus, like, really, like, strong operatic here? Steve's like, give it a try, mate. And he goes in and he just fucking nails it. And I'm like, yeah, that was amazing. We're done. Yeah, that's great. Take one, amazing. It's astounding to me. And then moving on from this to Final Frontier. And I've talked about Final Frontier on the podcast, and I love it. It's the weakest album since the reunion, in my opinion. It still is to this day. It's not a bad album by any means. I love the record. But from all the stuff I just talked about with Bruce in the 80s, some of the stuff and the highlights I mentioned with his solo career, and the stuff we talked about with the reunion for those first 3 albums, and now we get the Final Frontier, I feel like to a certain extent, and I gave it credit, it's probably the most experimental album of the reunion. I think Seven Son was probably the most experimental album of the 80s with Bruce. This is the most experimental album of the reunion, and I think it works. It works in a way that it tries to combine ideas and a kind of futuristic theme from like Seven Son and Somewhere in Time kind of together in a way, in essence. And I think it does well. It does a really good job. But some of the songs on this, like the Middle Range Rockers, were a little weaker than, say, stuff coming up on Book of Souls, which we'll get to, and then even some of the stuff before with Brave New World, Dance of Death, and The Matter of Life and Death. But with that being said, when you get to like the threshold on this record, like the breaking point on this record where everything is amazing in a row, when you get to Isle of Avalon, nothing against Satellite 15, The Final Frontier. It's just kind of too popular sounding for me. Same thing with El Dorado, same thing with Mother of Mercy, and Coming Home is okay. Coming Home is okay. I don't mind it. Alchemist isn't too bad. They're good, but those first 3 are just kind of like, then you get the Little Short Rockers. They're halfway decent. They're good. When you get to Isle of Avalon, though, this is the real shit. This is Bruce Dickinson, man. This is him, like, just full-fledged power. Fertility Mother, Goddess, Celebration, Sow the Seeds of the Born. That part, like, wow. That whole part where he's singing that, like the passion in his voice, fucking unbelievable. And almost the whispering again at the beginning. Then you get Starblind, man. It's my favorite song on the album. So heavy, so dark. His voice is beautiful, so powerful. Transitioning yet again from a very soft ambient feel to a really heavy, aggressive, down your throat, kind of like in your face, like metal feel. I love it. Then it cools down again with Talisman, very slow to start. And then the heaviness again with his vocal range and the driving. 4 leagues of 10 and we hit storms again. I mean, it's unbelievable. Going to the Man Who Would Be King, which is kind of a chill out song. It's very like chill outy. And then When the Wild Wind Blows, again, not my favorite Steve epic. It's actually towards the bottom for me in some of them, but I love it. It's an amazing closer to this record. And again, those last couple songs I talk about really do a good job of being transcendent and taking you to a different place. And that's what Bruce does so well with the way how he sings. He's a storyteller. He's a narrator. He's a showman. He is the narrator of Iron Maiden. He's telling the story of these lyrics, and he does a damn good job, and he takes us to different places. And The Final Frontier, in a way, is an album that is very much like Seven Son in that way. It almost has like a fantasy storybooky kind of feel to it. more so than a lot of the other records, which are a lot heavier, I feel like, and have more weighty emotional themes, like A Matter of Life and Death, like I talked about, or like Somewhere in Time, like I talked about. Seventh Son and Final Frontier have these kind of more weighty emotion, or excuse me, have a more storybooky kind of acousticy, chilled out kind of feel to them, as opposed to a lot of the other stuff. You could probably say that about Dance of Death too, but I feel like that record is a little bit more serious and heavy. Even though it's more acoustic in a lot of places and has kind of like a Renaissance-y vibe, I still feel like it's darker and heavier than Final Frontier. So, that's Final Frontier. And moving on, Book of Souls, I just talked about this at the beginning of this podcast. Like, damn. I cannot believe this record came out almost 10 years ago. This is August of 2025. This came out in September of 2015. It's insane to me, like, where the 10 years go. And if you look what Maiden has done in the last 10 years, they came out with this in 2015. 2016, they toured with it. 2017, they toured with it. 2018, they did Legacy of the Beast. 2019, they did Legacy of the Beast. 2020 was COVID. They were going to tour, didn't do anything. They went into the studio in late 19 to do Senjutsu. 2020 was COVID. 2021 was COVID. Canceled. Then they did 2022. They did Legacy again. 2023, Future Past. 2024, Future Past. 2025, One for Your Lives. They've been very busy. They haven't slowed down. They do stuff constantly. And it's just crazy to think, though, in the last 10 years, how much they've done in such a short amount of time. It's unbelievable. Like, when you think about that, it's like, holy shit. And when Book of Souls came out, this is the biggest album tour, the biggest amount of shows that they ever did with an album tour since, like, the 80s. It's like 107 shows or something like that, or more. And they only did it for 2 years. 16, 17. So, I mean, that's pretty significant when you look at it. Now, Legacy of the Beast, they did for 3 years, and it was like 140-some shows, I think, give or take. But that was a 3-year thing. It's in 2 years they did. I mean, they really loved this album. Because, again, we'll go back to that thing I talked about earlier with the mortality thing. I know it's going to happen to Bruce, like, hey, let's go make the most of this fucking tour. And I saw this tour live, and the production on this, man, was some of the best fucking shit ever. The best shit ever. Now, this was like a very much, like I said, if you're looking at Book of Souls, it's a modern day Power Slave record. They overhauled everything, and it was amazing. And the red and the black, him singing it live, was amazing. If Eternity Should Fail was amazing live. Speed of Light, I could give or take. It's alright. Great Unknown was phenomenal. The Book of Souls, the title track, was amazing. Death or Glory, very, very cool to see. Would love to see Empire of the Clouds, and that's a highlight of this record for me. You know, I mentioned Red and the Black, absolutely amazing. But I would love to see Empire of the Clouds live someday, even if he did it like by himself on a solo tour, just playing the piano. His voice on that is just so amazing, and it's one of the coolest and like most unique Iron Maiden songs of all time. And just the message in it, you know, dreamers may die, but the dreams live on, and he just carries that. Wow, amazing. I don't know what to say. It's amazing. And he did the bookends of this record, and it's a really cool thing of how they did this and how it's set up. You know, Bruce has If Eternity Should Fail at the beginning and Empire of the Clouds at the end. He has the bookends of the record that he wrote by himself. Those are his. It was a time when he was going through health issues and health crisis. He beats the cancer. He comes out and he's like, you know what, we're going to go take the world by storm. And they do it again. It's almost like another resurgence in a way. It's almost like 15 years after Brave New World, this is almost like another resurgence of the band. It's not, because it's still, you know, the reunion era, but like it feels like another resurgence because of what happened. Then you move on to Senjutsu. And listening to this record when it came out, I was so happy. Like, I was literally crying tears of joy when this album came out. I have all of these records on actual vinyl, every single Iron Maiden LP, all their live shit. I have it on CD, all of it on CD. I have all of it digitally. I have all of their video releases. I have tons of t-shirts, tons of memorabilia, tons of pop figurines, action figures, busts of Eddie, all these different things. I have tons, fabric posters, they're my favorite thing, like, period, ever. And Senjutsu, that record, I was so excited when I got it. I have every version of it. I have the black vinyl, I have the silver vinyl, I have the red vinyl, I have everything because I was so happy when this record came out. I cried when it came out. I seriously did. Because I was like, man, I'm listening to it from beginning to end. I literally was like crying. Like tears of joy. I was like, this is fucking amazing. How can this be better than Book of Souls? And to me it was. And then having the opportunity and the privilege to see half of the album played live last year with half of one of my personal favorite 80s albums from the band and Somewhere in Time. Wow. And to see Bruce just unleash everything again. It's like the guy doesn't age after the health crisis he went through, after all the stuff with the band in and out. Wow. Seeing him sing Caught Somewhere in Time and Stranger in a Strange Land and Alexander the fucking Great, man, and Hell on Earth, that song, and Death of the Celts, those two really in particular. Holy shit. Writing on the Wall was always amazing. Like, it's... Looking at Bruce here and how he carries the band, it's a reflection of the whole band, and this is why he's the front man of this band. The way that he just disseminates this stuff to us. I really don't know if any other guy could do that. I can't picture Paul Di'Anno or Blaze Bayley singing this reunion stuff. I can't picture them singing Ghost of the Navigator, or Wicker Man, or Dance of Death, or Passchendaele, or Journeyman. I can't picture these guys singing For the Greater Good of God, or The Reincarnation of Benjamin Breek, or The Legacy, or Better Than a Thousand Suns. I can't picture them singing The Talisman, or Starblind, or When the Wild Wind Blows, or The Owl of Avalon. I can't picture them singing The Red and the Black, Empire of the Clouds, The Book of Souls, Death or Glory, If Eternity Should Fail. I can't picture them singing Senjutsu, Stratego, Death of the Celts, The Parchment, Hell on Earth. The only guy who can do that is fucking Bruce Dickinson. Bruce Dickinson. And that leads me to my next point about Bruce, and I kind of just want to piggyback off of that for a second here. And not just Bruce, but really the band in general. Like I said earlier in this episode, they just finished, literally just finished, like not even a week ago, the end of the Run For Your Lives tour in 2025, my first stint of it. And there's a lot of people that I respect, and a lot of YouTubers and like a lot of people that I watch and talk about the tour and things, like, you know, fellow Maiden fans like myself. People in the community who love metal and love Iron Maiden. It's like their favorite thing, their favorite band, just like me. And they're saying they didn't enjoy the tour as much. And a lot of that comes from the fact that Nico is absent, and I get that. And I guess what I'm trying to say is a lot of people I see are saying, well, the tour doesn't have the fabric posters and the theatrical stuff that they used to pull up in the backdrops for backdrops anymore. It's all digital. It's a screen. It kind of takes something away, which I can see that. At the same time, though, it's kind of cool. I like it in a way, but I can see how it can be kind of like, almost like I'm not trying to insult anybody here, but it's almost like it pulls your attention away. It's like ADHD when you have a cinematic projector in the back basically playing a movie while people are trying to sing. It's like you're trying to watch two different things at the same time. Whereas the backdrop is like, hey, it's there, this is fucking Power Slave, you know, or hey, it's there, this is Number of the Beast, or hey, it's there, this is Seventh Son, this is Rhyme. Whatever. You have these movies and all these moving bits and pieces now. It's not the same when it's just this, you know, stage where occasionally some cool shit will happen. And stuff will happen and come out. Where everything's moving at once, it kind of creates confusion and you can't really focus. So I can see why people are saying, like, yeah, we really don't care for it. At the same time, though, I wonder if Nico was still playing in the band right now live, if he was there behind the kit instead of Simon Dawson, I wonder what the reactions would be. I wonder what people would be saying. I feel like, honestly, it would be a different opinion. I feel like because we're so conditioned to having Nico there with the rest of these guys, that when we look at the tour and we see Simon and we look at everything else, we're kind of like, yeah, it's just not the same. And I haven't seen it yet, so I'm not passing any judgment. This is just some stuff I've heard. Some people said it's really amazing. They fucking love it. But honestly, it's a mixed bag. And that's the first time I think I've heard that from Maiden in a very, very long time. So I think it's almost because the fact that Nico's not there, we're not trying to be like, oh, it's because Nico's not there. Because we're trying to give Simon Dawson credit, and he's fucking doing an amazing job. He's killing it. But I think that having that huge void and that absence of him is kind of affecting the live show too. So when we look at it, we're like, yeah, it's just not the same. And I feel like if Nico was there, we'd be like, oh, it's the best fucking concert of all time. Like, oh, it's amazing. And I feel like it goes back to what I talked about, like I said at the beginning of this, when people are getting older and people are leaving. So on the other side of that token, and this idea of mortality and how people are living and people, only have one life and they're mortal and they get old, give these guys some fucking credit too. They are getting older. I'm talking about Bruce Dickinson. He's the youngest member in the band, and he literally just turned 67 years old today. They probably don't want to have to deal with all that stuff anymore of putting up backdrops and things like that. Well, it does. Trust me, I've every single time I've seen them, they've had all that, and it does detract from what I'm conditioned to love about Iron Maiden. But at the same time, I kind of have to look past my bias and be like, hey, they're doing this because it's probably easier for them to do. It makes transition from song to song a lot easier, and it makes it easier. They're doing it for efficiency. And they're still giving us something awesome. I could see if it was like half-ass cinematography or something, but I've seen like videos of the Run for Your Lives show, and I've seen a lot of my friends on social media posting it who live in Europe, and it looks pretty fucking awesome. Is it as awesome as the traditional backdrops? Probably not. But I think we have to come to a realization, too, as we talk about Bruce here, his birthday. And happy birthday again, Bruce. Happy 67th. Love you, man. Changed my life. You're amazing. I wish you and yours all the best, and I hope to see you in September in Pittsburgh. I'm from Pennsylvania, so I live about an hour and a half away from Pittsburgh, so hopefully I'll see you there. Come see you live, but we have to realize that these guys are getting older, and they're not, it's probably never going to be the same. They're on the back end of their career now. They're still going out there, and they're still performing, and they're giving their all to these performances. So we have to be thankful for that, and we have to champion that, and we have to love that. So for that, I'm always going to be thankful for everything that these guys have done for me. Bruce, for just his charisma and changing my life and his gusto and how just his energy and his stage presence and how he carries himself as a person, and the interviews he's done over the years, especially since the reunion, just how comical and funny they are, and some of his behind the scenes. And you can kind of see him evolving too, from this young man who was very brazen, even like I talked about in the beginning, like the 2005 incident with Ozzy, the guy at that point in time was in his 40s, right? He's like in his mid 40s, to now he's in his late 60s, and he's like, he's become more mature, as the rest of the band has. And their music has become more mature, and it's grown, and it's evolved, it's become more progressive. So it's like, now it's affecting the stage set as well. That progression is affecting the stage set. They're doing stuff now that's more efficient. They're doing stuff now that is, for them. They're doing stuff there for them to a certain extent because of what's happening. Or they're just experimenting and trying something different. Who knows? Maybe when they tour the new album, whenever that comes out, next year, hopefully, 2026, or they tour with a reunion tour or something they're going to do. They'll go back to the old. We don't know. Maybe it's just they're trying something different now. But I honestly don't think it's going to change. I think it's going to be the same, because I don't think Nick's done. He's never coming back. So this is probably what we're going to get moving forward. And while I see some fans are like, well, it's not the same. No, it's not. And it's not going to be. Nico's gone. It's not the same. And I'm just thankful that I saw, if you're looking at bookends with Nico, my first concert was somewhere back in time. First time I saw them as a six-piece. First time I ever saw them. And my last concert with Nico was Future Past Tour 2024. So how amazing is that as a bookend? I even said that before when I saw Legacy of the Beast. How amazing would that be as a bookend? And I was talking about the 2019 shows, even before I saw the 2022 shows when they included some Sunjutsu stuff. How amazing would that be? Just you're telling a story to your kids, or like, somebody you meet, or like a friend in a bar or something who's wearing a Maiden shirt. This is my first. Holy shit, that's amazing. Like that's my life. It's a matter of life and Maiden, man, and they're a huge part of it. And yeah, so I just want to talk about that. It's crazy to think that the youngest member of Iron Maiden is 67 years old, and it's Bruce, but these guys still have energy in them. They're still out there performing. They're still giving their all. They're still doing shit for us, and I think they'll do it for a couple more years. I think they have one more album in them, and I think we're going to get that sooner rather than later, probably 2026. I think we're going to get a tour with that, and then I think they're going to do farewell after that. It's going to be farewell tours, and then they're going to be done. I think they're going to be done in 2030. I'm saying they got 5 more years, and then they're going to be done. 2030. That's when they're going to hang it up. 2030. That would be 55 years of Iron Maiden. And at that point in time, Bruce is the youngest member of the band. He'll be 5 more years from now. He's 67 now. He'll be 72. All the other guys will be like 74, 75. Nick will be almost 80 at that point. But that remains to be seen, and what the future looks like and what they'll do after Run for Your Lives. And I do think we're going to get a new album. I really do. I think with all the interviews and all the stuff online and the speculation and some of the stuff with Bruce saying, like, you're going to be very happy to see what Iron Maiden has coming up in the next several years. And they said that before they did the Run for Your Lives tour. So something's coming. Something big is coming. Run for Your Lives tour is big, but there's going to be more that's even bigger coming. And I do think it's going to be new album, new tour, and then we'll see what happens after that. Will they do farewell? Are they hanging up or not? Or they just keep going until they can't do it anymore? I mean, that could be them as well. So we'll see. But anyway, thank you for listening to A Matter of Life and Maiden, podcast of the Beast. I'm Joe Labriola. Happy birthday, Bruce. Have an amazing day. Love you. Thank you for everything you've done for my life and all of us Maiden fans out there. We are so happy, and we continue to be happy that you're still around, you're still kicking, and you guys are out there doing these amazing tours and giving us these amazing albums. Amazing everything. Changed my life for the better. Remember, Maiden is life, the rest is history. I'll see you guys next time.